have gone dark. If you try to log on to rural.gov, for example, which helps rural Americans, this is what you get. This site is offline. Senior FBI officials have been ordered to resign or be fired. Potentially thousands of FBI agents who worked on January 6 cases could be next. More than a dozen prosecutors from the January 6 investigations were fired by the U.S. attorney. Elon Musk and his team are gaining access to the system that writes America's checks. And the unelected billionaire said he spoke with President Trump to shut down USAID. That's the agency in charge of humanitarian aid around the world. All of those events that I just mentioned, that was just this weekend. It has been a very busy couple weeks. Let's turn to Democratic Senator from Connecticut, Chris Murphy. Senator Murphy, let's start with USAID. You joined protesters outside the office responsible for USAID after employees were told to not come into work. Secretary of State Rubio said today he is now acting director of USAID. It's moving under the State Department. Take a listen.
There are a lot of functions of USAID that are going to continue, that are going to be part of American foreign policy, but it has to be aligned with American foreign policy. USAID has a history of sort of ignoring that and deciding that they're somehow a global charity separate from the national interest. These are taxpayer dollars.
Does he have a point, do you think, Senator, that money should be spent in a way that's not contradictory to American interests?
Well, listen, Marco Rubio knows better. He knows what he said isn't true. USAID doesn't spend money independently. They spend money based upon specific allocations of money to spend in advance of U.S. national security interests prescribed by Congress. So Congress writes a law that dictates how USAID spends money to make sure that we're countering Chinese influence inside Africa, to make sure that we don't lose access to critical mineral supplies, so that we're fighting back against Hezbollah in Lebanon, so that we're helping South American countries stop the flow of migrants to the United States. It is just not true, as Elon Musk and now, unfortunately, Marco Rubio are saying, that USAID has some independent mandate separate from how money is authorized to them from Congress. The fact of the matter is USAID is not moving inside state. USAID is shut down. They are effectively shut down. There are a handful of programs that are continuing, but most all of their activity around the world that helps protect U.S. interests are not functioning. And as you mentioned today, nobody showed up for work today and likely tomorrow. That means U.S. taxpayers are paying the salaries of USAID employees who are sitting home all week instructed to do nothing. That's a fraud that's being perpetuated on the taxpayers of the United States, that we're paying these people salaries and they are being told, don't report for work, don't do anything. And I guess the question everybody's asking today is why? Why is the Trump administration doing this? Who does this benefit? And that's something Congress has to get to the bottom of.
Elon Musk and his aides have gotten access to critical government computer systems, including the one at the Treasury Department that writes the checks appropriated by Congress for the U.S., checks to federal government employees, checks for Social Security recipients, et cetera. Do you have an issue with that?
Of course I do. First of all, every American needs to know that your information, your personal tax records have been potentially compromised, that unelected billionaires and his Silicon Valley right-wing friends may have access to all of your personal information. And all of this seems to be in service of taking control of the federal government and using the resources of the federal government to reward Trump's friends and Musk's friends and to punish their enemies, at least to punish people who don't line up with the political priorities of the administration. They say they're just, sorting through all of government spending to make sure that it doesn't contain funding for woke ideologies. That is just fancy talk to say we're going to give money to people who pledge loyalty to Donald Trump, and we're not going to give money to people who don't pledge loyalty to Donald Trump. Today it may be government contracts, but tomorrow it may be your tax refund. So I just think this is a super dangerous moment that doesn't just impact government contractors, that now may impact ordinary Americans. And I think you're seeing this weekend and today folks realizing the scope of this crisis, and you're starting to see the American public really speak out and speak up.
You're on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. There are reports that a gentleman named Darren Beattie is going to be put forward to be acting Undersecretary for Public Diplomacy and Public Affairs. It's a key post. And we should note, Beattie left the first Trump administration after the tide of criticism because he attended a conference tied to white nationalists. Beattie's also posted on social media things like this. Quote, competent white men must be in charge if you want things to work. Unfortunately, our entire national ideology is predicated on coddling the feelings of women and minorities and demoralizing competent white men, unquote. What's your reaction, and is it true that he's up for this post?
My understanding is that he is up for this post. Listen, he sounds particularly dangerous. The brazen chauvinism and racism. He also has been a very frequent apologist for the Chinese genocide of Uyghurs. He says the United States should have no interest in protecting Taiwan, and we should, in fact, hand Taiwan to the Chinese. He has really radical views. But I don't know. They don't seem super different than Elon Musk, who has amplified vicious anti-Semitic information on Twitter, who gave the Heil Hitler salute on Inauguration Day. It seems to be standard that the qualification to serve in the Trump administration is affection for racist and misogynist philosophy. So this guy's dangerous, but there seems to be people like him being peppered throughout Trump's government.
Just for whatever it's worth, the Trump team says that wasn't a Heil Hitler salute, but we have not. I don't think we've heard from Elon Musk on what exactly it was. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut, thanks for your time. Thousands of FBI agents are now being questioned about their work on the January 6th investigation.